Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather today. I'm meteorologist Al Peterlin. I'd like to talk about the weather health risk for January 23rd, 2026. We do keep additional graphics available at tpatw.com, and we maintain an Amazon patient weather storefront. Purchases on Amazon made through our patient weather storefront support the activities of patient weather. Looking at the surface map for the 23rd, and it's a doozy. Looks like high pressure everywhere, but don't be fooled. That frontal system is hanging all the way from El Paso across New Orleans back up to Jacksonville. And what that really means is that combination of that front moving south, that terrible cold moving to the south from Canada has a swath of unsettled weather from the Four Corners across the central and southern plains, across portions of the southeast, and moving sharply, briskly into the northeast. And we'll hear all those winter adjectives: cold, blizzard, snow, ooh, big burr, and more. And it's not done. Watch this entire weekend. Looking at our vitality index, it's pretty much a Christmas tree everywhere from the Four Corners east. Little bit of activity up there in northern Idaho, but it looks like the northwest may be a little area of some safety. Florida looks reasonably well, and the extreme southern tip of Texas, but otherwise lots of activity going on across the country. Looking at pressure change, because that is always a defining issue for many with headache, arthritis, asthma. What we have is rising pressure, and that's because it's way behind that front hanging way to the south. Extremely falling temperatures all the way up and down the plains and everywhere east, all the way to Virginia, cutting up across the Great Lakes into New England. And of course, that is moving south, not north. Looking at temperature change, and that's what everyone will be talking about: blizzard, snow, cold, call it chill temperature. In any case, it's freezing, and that runs all the way from the panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma, all the way up into the Dakotas, across the Tennessee-Ohio Valley, covering everywhere, much of the Great Lakes, actually the most lower portion of the Great Lakes, and that meaning changing temperatures, but they're already colder up north, so it's just plain cold, all the way across Pennsylvania into New England. This is in case the big brew. And looking at dew point temperatures, it reflects those falling temperatures everywhere east, but notice a little bit of warming temperatures here trying to build its way into the Four Corners. And that is, again, just because as it settles in, we're finally getting a little flow off the Gulf, trying to work its way back into the southwest. And you can see that very cleanly on the vapor pressure map, where you can see some of that warm vapor trying to push into extreme South Texas and up into the Four Corners. Looking at the change in atmospheric oxygen, you can see that what we're talking about is a small risk of asthma up here in North Dakota, little risk of asthma down here in extreme southwest Texas, some risk of asthma northern Florida into southern Georgia, little bit right in the heart of the Four Corners, but everywhere else, literally from the southern portions of the Four Corners, across portions of the Northwest, from Oregon into Idaho, across Montana into Wyoming, and then picking up in the plains from Oklahoma to South Dakota, and everywhere east across the Tennessee Valley, Middle Atlantic states, the lower portions of the Great Lakes, upstate New York and all of New England, all of the Canadian cities, basically from Windsor to Quebec, a risk of migraine. Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather. Be careful with the hurt. And one final note, you can't even escape indoors with the heat running so hard and so constant. Humidity levels in the houses will be falling much lower than the body likes, and it's time to A, keep hydrated, B, add some humidification if possible, and do it the old-fashioned way. Hang the drying inside and do air drying in the house. It'll add some humidity to the air. Again, thanks for visiting. Have a great day.